Good evening, Commissioners. Good evening to City Management and Administration, department heads that are here with us this evening, and good evening to members of the public. We'll begin our meeting. I will offer a prayer, and then we will honor our flags. If you would, pray with me, please. Our Heavenly Father, we praise your greatness today. God, thank you for the wonderful community that you've blessed us with. Lord, we pray that you'd pour your blessings out here and bring glory to yourself and in our community being prosperous and healthy and strong. Lord, we thank you for the privilege of serving the public in the way that we are allowed to here, and we pray for your guidance, that you give us wisdom to make good decisions and be good stewards of the city's resources. I pray these things in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Join me in honoring our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, as he is a symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures. Our meeting is called to order. Will the clerk please call roll?
Commissioner Madrid?
Here.
Commissioner Casals?
Here.
Commissioner Elliott? Mayor Pro Tem Bryant?
Here.
Commissioner Garza?
Here.
Commissioner Rowley?
Here.
Commissioner Paula? Here. Mayor Morris?
Here. Thank you, Ms. Knight. Appreciate that very much. Commissioners, next is approval of the agenda. You've had the opportunity to review the agenda. Do you recommend rearranging or removing any of the items, or is there a motion to approve the agenda as it is printed?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve from Commissioner Madrid and a second from Mayor Pro Tem Bryant. Commissioners, please vote. By a vote of 6-0, the motion is carried and our agenda has been approved. Next is approval of minutes. We are looking at the minutes from the Thursday, September 9th regular City Commission meeting. Those minutes are in your packet. If you've had a chance to review those, I would take a motion to approve as they're printed, or if you have corrections, please bring those up now.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve from Commissioner Casals, second from Commissioner Paula. Commissioners, please vote. And the vote is unanimous. The motion is carried and the minutes have been approved. Thank you. Next is recognition of visitors. Again, welcome to the members of the public that are here this evening. We look forward to hearing from you when we reach the point in the agenda that you're here to share with us about. Next is proclamations, awards, and presentations, and we have a couple of planned presentations there this evening. The first is presentation of clocks to Distinguished Supervisor of the Quarter, Mike Chavez from Public Works, and Distinguished Line Employee of the Quarter, Kelsey Knight from Administration for the period June to August 2021. Is Mr. Bunch? He's going to share with us about Mr. Mike Chavez from Public Works. Mr. Bunch, thank you for being here. Thanks for sharing with us.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, and Commissioners. It's an honor to be here tonight to introduce you to Mike Chavez. Mike, would you want to come up here, please? Mike's been an integral part of the city and to Public Works for the last 16 years. Mike is our shop superintendent for the city. Many of you may know and many may not know that the city of Clovis has a shop that maintains all the city vehicles and equipment that are run in the city, and that's a large amount of equipment. Mr. Chavez has been doing that job for quite some time now. He does a great job at it. He's very dedicated. He's a great family man. Mike, on his free time, he volunteers to coach Little League, basketball, football, baseball, whatever his grandkids are in. He's a dedicated grandfather. He's a great guy. He, like I said, he's worked for the city for 16 years. Before that, and sometime during that, he worked for Sears as a technician there. How long did you work for Sears, Mike? 26 years for Sears before they shut the doors over there. So Mike's very knowledgeable. He keeps our equipment running, does a great job. we're glad to have him at Public Works, and he keeps us going every day.
Great, thank you for sharing that with us, Mr. Bunch, and Mr. Chavez, congratulations. Actually, Mr. Bunch, if I could, have you not run off, you may want to be in the photo. I'm going to meet you down there and give a clock to Mr. Chavez. Distinguished Supervisor of the Quarter, June through August 2021, and this is your clock. I'd like to give it to you. There you go, sir. Appreciate you. Thanks for all you do. And to share with us about the line employee of the quarter, Ms. Kelsey Knight, Ms. Claire Burrows.
Thank you, and good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioners. It's my great pleasure to recognise Kelsey Knight as the line employee of the quarter for the city. Kelsey has just been with us just over a year. I cannot believe that it's one of the fastest years ever. She's our communications, marketing and grants person. She's just been doing a wonderful job in promoting Clovis through all the COVID notifications and the changes related to that, helping departments hire people, promoting various aspects of the city. I know you've worked with her, Mayor, and all the department directors have been doing so. And then on top of that, she's been helping bring in all kinds of grants, including $84,000 RAID grant, $19,000 New Mexico Clean and Beautiful grant, a $20,000 outdoor equity grant, $5.9 million transportation project funding for 7th Street, the $750,000 for the Wellness Center, and $197,000 local government road fund projects, to just name a few. So she's just been wonderful, and it was my pleasure to nominate her for line employee of the quarter. Thank you.
We're glad you did, Ms. Burrows. Thank you for that, and congratulations, Ms. Knight. I would like to meet you down here and give you your clock.
We could do something.
Kelsey, well deserved. Distinguished line employee. There you are.
Take your mask off.
Commissioners, that does it for presentations. And again, congratulations to Mr. Chavez and Ms. Knight. It's our pleasure to have you be recognized at our meeting tonight. Thank you. So we will move on then to receipts of petitions and communications. And
Do a presentation of the Yard of the Month.
thank you for slowing me down there, Mayor Pro Tem, as well as Commissioner. I was getting ahead of myself, so forgive me for that. We do have the second presentation this evening, a presentation of August 2021 Yard of the Month, and for that, Commissioner Madrid, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. Thank you. I have the pleasure of introducing the Yard of the Month. In District 1, we got 2017 Colonial Parkway, Cami Kirby and Doyle Lee Bouchon. Clear? No. Okay. 313 Wilmington, Thomas Harrington III. Nope. How about 813 Norris, Sierra Pit Hotel and Spa? Nope. Okay. District 2, 301 East Grand, Joe Barella.
They're all nice-looking properties.
1200 Gidding, Bill Bauer. Nope. Okay. Okay, District 3, 209 Rosa, Fred Gonzalez. I think they're here.
Mr. Gonzalez, congratulations. Please come on up. We have some things for you. Kind of a long walk, isn't it, Commissioner?
Okay, 125 Summer Court, Brenda Kingston. Nope. You got 1400 Cameo, Freshman Academy. You got them.
Yeah, and we have Mr. John Howell, principal at the Freshman Academy here to accept that. Good to see you, Mr. Howell. Thanks, Mr. Howell.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. District 4, 2905 Kelso, Ricky and Victoria Garza. Nope. Okay. 305 Kathy, John Kennedy.
I'd like to say a little something, if I may. I chose this house, and this is Mrs. Kirsten Kennedy, John's wife, and I wish everyone took as much pride in their yard as Kirsten and John do, and I had the privilege of seeing their backyard as well, and it is even more beautiful than the front yard, so good job. Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you once again. Congratulations.
Okay. And next we have 3001 North Thornton, Los Ninos.
Anyone here from Los Ninos? We'll be sure and get the certificate to them.
Thank you, everybody, for those beautiful yards.
Yeah, once again, great looking properties. Congratulations to all of the recipients. All right. Thank you for that, Commissioner Madrid. Now, I've double checked and we are moving on from presentations, awards, and proclamations. So we'll move into receipts of petitions and communications. And this is the portion of the agenda where if you have anything at all that you wish to bring before the commission, we would give you the floor at this time. So if there's anyone from the public that wishes to share with the commission, now is the time. Okay. If there's no one that wishes to bring communications before the commission this evening, we will move on in the agenda to the consent agenda. Commissioners, as you know, this item is placed on the agenda so that the commission, by unanimous consent, can designate those routine agenda items that they wish to approve or acknowledge by one motion. If any proposal does not meet with the approval of all commission members, or if a citizen so requests, that item will be heard when reached under the regular agenda. We have 10 items on the consent. The first is the motion to place, and the 10th is the motion to approve or acknowledge. So I will read out items 2 through 9. 2 is request for approval of adoption of resolution number 3092-2021, requesting a change to the Public Employees Retirement Association of New Mexico para return to work provisions. Item 3, request for approval for change orders 10, 11, and 12 with Duke City Builders for the shooting range. Item 4, request for approval of capital appropriation project 21-F2709, agreement between the City of Clovis and the New Mexico Department of Finance and Administration in the amount of $750,000 for Wellness Center. Item 5, request for approval of capital appropriation project 21-F2706, agreement between the City of Clovis and the New Mexico Department of Finance and Administration in the amount of $150,000 for food bank roofing, gutter replacement, and parking lot paving. Item 6, request for approval of capital appropriation project 21-F2707, agreement between the City of Clovis and the New Mexico Department of Finance and Administration in the amount of $75,000 for playground equipment. Item 7, request for approval of agreement number A20E5222 between the City of Clovis and Long-Term Services Department, between the City of Clovis and Aging and Long-Term Services Department in the amount of $4,703,946 for the Hillcrest Senior Center. Item 8, request for approval of easement encroachment at 1925 Jane Way. Item 9, request for approval of conditional use miniature horses at 209 Hall. Commissioners, is there a motion to place the indicated items on the consent agenda by unanimous vote?
So moved.
Motion from Commissioner Garza,
Second.
second from Commissioner Casals. Commissioners, please vote. The vote is unanimous, and the motion is carried. The items have been placed. I would now entertain a motion to approve or acknowledge all items on the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion from Commissioner Garza, second from Mayor Pro Tem Bryant. Commissioners, please vote. And by a vote of 6-0, the motion is carried and the consent agenda has been approved. Thank you. Next is introduction and adoption of resolutions and ordinances. 2 items there this evening, Commissioners. The first is request for approval of adoption of resolution number 3091-2021, adopting the Senior Citizens Local Infrastructure Capital Improvements Plan for 2023 through 2027. And Barbara Riggin is here to advise on this item. Ms. Riggin, it's great to see you.
Good evening. Good to see you too, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and Commissioners. The Infrastructure Capital Improvement Plan, also known as the ICIP, is a 5-year plan. It's a planning tool. And each year, the City of Clovis participates in the New Mexico Department of Finance planning process. This year, the City of Clovis ICIP had 50 active projects on it, which you approved last week, I believe. A few years ago, the New Mexico Department of Finance realized that senior citizen centers were having to compete with roads, infrastructure, and water projects. Therefore, they created a separate ICIP specifically for senior centers. So each year, the New Mexico Aging and Long-Term Services has an application process that enables senior centers to apply for, capital outlay projects through their division. This year, we have put 2 projects on the 2023-2027 ICIP. The first project is to purchase, equip, and deliver ADA accessible vans for the City of Clovis Senior Services. The amount of this project is $300,000. Senior Services currently has 1 bus, and it is a 2008, very old, and has high mileage. This bus is not ADA acceptable. It does not have a ramp. So many seniors are limited to who can board the bus. The second project listed is Phase 3 of the Hillcrest Senior Center. This project, as you know, you just approved our $4.7 million, and thank you so much for approving that. This project started in 2015 with plan, design, and equipped a multi-purpose senior center. To date, a little more than $6 million has been secured through various funding sources. To fully complete the final phase of the project, $8.7 million is suggested in the final budget. The deadline to complete this ICIP and submit it to the DFA is October 1st. Therefore, I stand for any changes or anything that you would like to see before this is submitted to DFA.
Well, we appreciate that, and thanks for the opportunity to hear from you concerning this. And commissioners, are there any questions, comments?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Reagan. We have a motion to approve from Commissioner Casals and a second from Commissioner Garza.
We're just happy that this project is moving forward and it's going to be ready when we're ready to get in.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
So again, we have a motion and a second to approve adoption of resolution number 3091-2021. Commissioners, please vote. And the vote is 6-0, and the motion is carried. Again, thank you, Ms. Reagan. Appreciate all you do, and thanks for being here this evening.
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. Thank you.
Next item, Commissioners, is request for approval of adoption of ordinance number 2151-2021 relating to cannabis business licenses and amending section 5.04.050 and creating a new section 5.04.060. And to advise on this evening, City Attorney, Mr. Jared Morris.
Thank you, Mayor, and good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and Commissioners. So August 5th, the cannabis license ordinance was introduced and approved unanimously by the Commission. At the time, the ordinance that I had drafted required that the applicant for a business license have a state license to sell marijuana or operate a cannabis business. For obvious reasons, we don't want to issue someone a business license if they're not licensed by the state. At that time, the much-awaited regulations from the Cannabis Control Division had not been promulgated. We were still waiting for them. We didn't know how the state was going to issue licenses. We didn't know if they were going to check to see that they satisfied all of our requirements and our ordinances before they issued a license or not. So to be safe, I worded the ordinance that we won't issue you a business license until you have your full state license. When the regulations came down on the 24th, the state said, we're not going to issue you a cannabis license until you have a business license in a local jurisdiction first, which created a sort of a chicken and the egg scenario. So what they did, though, to work that out is they created in one of the sections of the code, and I cited it in the new version that was circulated, they created a provisional license with contingencies. And a provisional license with contingencies just is basically a license that's issued that says you've checked all of our boxes except for local approval. So you get this provisional license with contingencies. So I've recrafted the ordinance. The portions that were changed are highlighted in yellow, but essentially instead of requiring a final license, we would just require a provisional license, then we'll issue you a city license, and then you can go forward. So with that, I would stand for any further explanation or questions.
Yeah, I appreciate that explanation. And our ordinance and this issue is an evolving one for sure. So thanks for staying with it and taking care of us on that. Commissioners, comments or questions rather for Mr. Morris?
Mayor,
Yes.
Mr. Morris, I just want to thank you for all your work on this. I know this is like trying to nail Jell-O to the wall, and it looks good to me, so I move for approval.
Okay, we have a motion for approval from Commissioner Paula and a second from Commissioner Garza. Again, the motion and second is for approval of adoption of ordinance number 2151-2021. Commissioners, please vote. And the vote is 6-0, and the motion is carried. We'll move on in the agenda. Nothing to deal with under unfinished business, so we're on to new business. 3 items there this evening. The first is request for approval to appoint 1 citizen member to serve on the Planning and Zoning Commission. To advise here is Ms. Burrows.
Yes, thank you, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioners. Mr. Steve North has resigned from the Planning and Zoning Commission as he's moved outside the city limits. The position has been advertised, and Mr. Michael Lee and Mr. Cody Stewart have applied to serve, and therefore the Commission will need to appoint one of those individuals to serve. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Thank you, Ms. Burrows. Is Mr. Stewart and Mr. Lee both here this evening? I see Mr. Stewart. Mr. Stewart, if you would, come on up, please. Good to see you, Mr. Stewart. Thank you for your interest in this. We need citizens engaged in helping us shape policy, and so we appreciate your interest in this. Certainly, we'd love to give you just a few minutes to share with the commission about your desire to do this, and then possibly stand for any questions that they may have.
Okay. So my name is Cody Stewart. I was born and raised in Clovis. I've been really recently trying to get active into the community, and I think this city's on the right track, and I love seeing the growth in the past few years. I have the knowledge of kind of around the whole city pretty much. I've been everywhere, whether I was a teenager, walking everywhere, or now as an adult. I just think that I would be a good candidate to make sure that, right things get put in the right places and help further, the development of the city and keep it nice, keep it pretty.
Great. Well, again, we appreciate the interest in serving. I, for one, and I know the commissioners would all agree, I believe that the committees and boards at the city are vitally important in helping the elected officials, create policy. And so it's necessary. So it's great to see you here. Great to see you interested in this. Commissioners, do you have questions for Mr. Stewart? Okay. You said you're a lifelong resident?
I am, sir.
Yeah, it's great. You raising a family here?
I am.
Awesome. Great. Well, we will let you off the hot seat, and we'll see if Mr. Lee is here. Mr. Michael Lee. And Mr. Lee didn't perhaps join by phone or video? Okay. All right. Well, commissioners, unless you have any comments or questions, why don't we vote? Do we have ballots?
We'll have you still have a piece of paper, though. If you could just write your nomination on there, please.
Okay. Commissioners, go ahead and take care of that by writing in the name that you're voting for.
Be sure to include your name as well.
I never got it right the first time.
Yep, good point. Please put your name on it.
Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioners, Mr. Stewart has been elected to serve. Thank you.
Very good. Congratulations, Mr. Stewart. Again, thank you for your interest, and I believe you'll need to be sworn in to the Planning and Zoning Commission, and we'll get with you to schedule that, or city administration will get with you to schedule that. Thank you. Looking forward to your service. Commissioners, next is request for approval of residential paving projects, and to advise, Mr. Howalt.
Thank you, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and Commissioners. At the June 23rd Public Works Committee meeting, the committee recommended rehabilitating several roadways. Those included Lakeview Terrace from Fairway Terrace North to Colonial Parkway, 5th Street from Prince Street to Axtell, Beta from 7th Street to Deborah, Lower Street from Manana Boulevard to Eccles, and North Street at State Road 77. These roadways totaled a value of $468,895, which excluded gross receipts tax. With gross receipts tax, the total price for these particular roadways was $507,285.78. The total budget that we have for residential street paving this year is $700,000. And so what we did is we had a list of additional roads that also needed to have some road work within the residential areas. So we actually brought those back to the Public Works Committee at our last meeting, which actually was yesterday. The additional roadways that the committee recommends to the City Commission to pave as well include Lore from Comer to Mandel, Harrison from Mandel to Manana, and then Mandel from Harrison to Manana. And so adding these 3 additional roadways will actually bring the total project cost up to $698,460.07.16. So adding those 3 additional roadways will still keep us within our overall residential paving budget for this fiscal year. So on the commission action request, you see that the original 5 roadways were on there, but underneath the suggested alternatives, it was recommended if the Public Works Committee had any additional roadways, that you guys could consider those well. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have regarding this item.
Great, appreciate that, Mr. Howalt. Mayor Pro Tem, you chair Public Works. Did you have any comments, or?
No, these particular projects are definitely needed in all 4 districts. And so Public Works unanimously recommended all these projects to the commission.
Very good. Well, thank you for that. Commissioners, any questions or comments?
I think this is good projects, and I move for approval.
Second.
Motion to approve from Commissioner Garza, second from Commissioner Madrid. Commissioners, please vote. By a vote of 6-0, the motion is carried. Next is request for approval of lodgers tax disbursements for September 2021. Do we have the chairman? We're going to let Mr. Howalt tell us about this.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioners, and Mr. Martin sends his apologies. He wasn't able to attend this evening. At the September 14th Lodgers Tax Board meeting, they received 9 requests to receive lodgers tax. Those included the 2022 Community Profile, the Halloween Howl for softball tournaments, the Lions Club Fall Gun, Knife, and Coin Show, the 2021-2022 Cultural Arts Series by CCC, Halloween on Main by our Main Street, Clovis Light Parade, which is also Main Street, the first annual Curry County Cannabis Conference, Holiday Bazaar by our Civic Center, and then the Pet Expo, which also is from our Civic Center. The total requested amount for all of these projects was $68,062.50. The recommended allowance for to be awarded to each one of these individually totals $56,970. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have regarding the recommendations from the Lodgers Tax Board.
Yeah, appreciate that. Thanks for bringing us up to speed on that one, Mr. Howalt. Any questions or comments from perhaps Commissioner Garza? Don't you said on lodgers tax?
I do.
Yep.
Sometimes I'm accused of doing things like conflict of interest and things like that, but all these projects speak for themselves. So whenever they come and ask for funding, we try to leave it up to the board to make decisions. And I'm referring to one specific individual that made some comments about how we do things, and I think that was wrong. But again, I just leave it up to the board here, or the commission, to look at the requests, and it's up to you.
Appreciate that, Commissioner. Thank you. Commissioners, any comments, questions?
Mayor, I think these are all good projects. I'll make a motion to approve them.
Okay, we have a motion to approve from Mayor Pro Tem Bryant
Second.
and a second from Commissioner Casals. The motion and a second to approve the lodger's tax disbursements for September 2021. Commissioners, please vote. And by a vote of 6-0, the motion is carried, and the lodger's tax disbursements for September 2021 have been approved. We will move on to reports of boards, officers, and committees. The first report there is regarding lodger's tax, and I feel like we just got a good report on lodger's tax. So we will.
Well, let me let me expand on that. I think all these
Okay.
projects are good, and we always try to fund these projects or any other project that's going to generate room nights. So therefore, I think these requests were way generous on what we're doing, and we hope that we can generate room nights and bring some dollars into the community.
Very good. Well, thank you for that, and thanks for your service on Lodgers Tax Committee. Appreciate that. Let's see. Who would like to report regarding Economic Incentive Board meeting that happened on September 15th? How about you, Mr. Howalt?
I just think that's a fantastic idea since I was there.
Yeah.
So the EIB met on September the 15th, in which we heard a report from the mayor updating us on the leader for retail that's going to be upcoming in this November election, as well as the award that we received from the State Economic Development Department to construct a water line from EPCOR system on out to our airport. So we're really excited about that award, which is a $2.1 million project that we received from the state of New Mexico. The board also heard a financial report from myself, and so from a cash and bank standpoint, the fund is doing really well. We have about $3 million total. About $1 million of that is invested, and then the other $2 million is as cash in bank. We also provided an update on the RFP process that we're doing in regards to looking at our economic development strategies throughout the city. And so that RFP selection committee has done fantastic work. We received, I want to say, about 6 proposals. They've gone through each one of them diligently, and have now provided scores to Brian Jones, our purchasing agent. The next step in that process, Brian will be working with them to see if they want to narrow that field down and actually go to an interview process. So we'll know more on that in the upcoming weeks as they work through that process themselves. But that's what happened at our EIB board meeting. Thank you, Mayor.
Appreciate that. That's a fantastic report.
I'm sorry, I forgot that Mr. Lee Beloy with CIDC, the president of their executive board, was also there and was able to give a report regarding the new Frito-Lay building that's going out on North Street as a delivery point, as well as the progress with the Cummins facility and the expansion of that. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Commissioners, Mr. Howalt covered it very, very well, but I did want to just back up and once again say what a great job Mr. Howalt and others at the city management and city administration have done on the state LEDA application to go and get state LEDA funds to extend the city's water system out to the regional airport. That is huge. A little over $2.2 million, and just excellent work on that. That's a great job. Looking forward to what all of that will mean as far as developing our airport eventually, even more than we already have it. So that end, he mentioned, and I want to mention again, but we will have on the ballot, on the county's ballot in November, will be the question regarding LEDA for retail, and we are working very hard to get information out on that so that folks are informed and can make the right choice in the voters box on that one. So next, we need a report on municipal officers, Municipal Officials Leadership Institute, Molly, I should have just said Molly, which happened September 15th through the 17th. And I attended that, and I know Commissioner Paula did as well. Commissioner Paula, did you want to share anything about that?
Well, are you going to talk about what we learned, or would you like to do that?
Yeah, you know, we should have coordinated, and I've put you on the spot, so I'm sorry about that.
I'll let you, how about if I
Okay.
let you do that?
Yeah, you
But
fill
I'll
it.
just start out by saying it was an excellent conference, and I believe they have a series of these throughout the year, and I look forward to attending more of them. And we had the opportunity at dinner to, or I did, I think you did as well, to sit with other mayors and commissioners from around the state, and I just wanted to congratulate you guys for a job well done. We got to hear lots of stories of lots of other cities, and I think the city of Clovis is running very well. So, good job. Sorry, I'm guessing you were nervous about what I was about to say. No, it was a good job.
Police chief or me?
No, I'm looking at you and Claire.
Thanks for that, Commissioner, and I'm so glad that you attended as well, so that you could have that experience. And I thought it was great, and some of the best parts of it were, as Commissioner Paula mentioned, you know, visiting with elected officials from other communities around the state, and hearing about their highs and lows, and I'm just like Commissioner Paula. A major takeaway that I brought home was that we have it really good in Clovis. We have great city management and administration. We have a wonderful commission, and I don't take that for granted, because it's not the case in every community around the state. So we are in good shape here, and we want to keep it that way. For those of you that have been, you kind of know how these things run. But we heard we kind of had, you know, sessions, sort of lecture type sessions throughout the day on Thursday, and then until about noontime on Friday, we heard a discussion from the league on their fund. We also had a presentation that was just fantastic on Robert's Rules of Order. Senator Daniel Ivy Soto does that. We got a presentation on municipal court, a presentation on Open Meetings Act, a local government update, state ethics, how to read your audit. I really appreciated that one as much as I did the Robert's Rules. And then we had a roundtable discussion led by the director of the league, AJ Forty. And as you could imagine, a lot of the roundtable discussion was spent talking about things like cannabis, talking about the Civil Rights Act, and the effects that that's having on municipalities, in particular in the area of insurance and those types of things. And then they wrapped up with an ethics in the workplace presentation. That was the last one before adjourning on Friday. But appreciate you sending me to that. I'm still processing a lot of what I've learned. But again, I came back with, I think, some tools that will make me more effective in running meetings and make me more effective as mayor in understanding how to read the audit and so forth. But I also came back with a great appreciation for the wonderful community that we have, and the great city management and commission that we have. So with that, I'll let Commissioner Paula fill in any blanks that I may have missed, or I'll take any questions from you.
I think you did.
Did pretty good. Okay. We'll move on in our reports to, this is a fun one. Mr. Harris, our airport director, reporting regarding Wings and Wheels and the fly-in that took place last Saturday.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners. Saturday was the first and annual Clovis Wings and Wheels. It was a celebration of aviation and cool cars, which are both my passions. So we had over 200 cars to show up and display their aircraft, and we had 4 winners. We had about 23 aircraft, including an Air Force CV-22, the Osprey from Cannon. They also did a flyby of the AC-130. We played some patriotic music, and they did a flyby and then came back and dipped their wings and went back home. We also had, I think they estimated over 1,500 attendees, all at the airport. It was a good event, and we'll be doing it again next year.
And there's a slideshow here, if you can, Steve, if you'd run through the pictures, please.
So here was some of the cars that we had out there. It was so many to get in one big shot, and I couldn't get my drone up fast enough. So don't pay attention to that guy in those pictures. These are some of the winners of the second place and best to show. It was some pretty cool cars out there. Some of the aircraft that was there. CAP, the Civil Air Patrol, they came in from Albuquerque with their aircraft. They had a van out there, did some recruiting efforts. There's the Osprey. When they took off, they did a cool straight out takeoff for us. And oh. That was the AC-130 flyovers. That video didn't do it any justice. It was cool. And I'd like to thank our sponsors, 107.5, The Mix. Mosen Corbin was also one of our sponsors. But I also would like to highlight the people who made it happen. It wouldn't have been nearly as successful as it was if it wasn't for Miss Claire Burrows and Vicky Reyes and Kelsey Knight, and also the Clovis Chamber of Commerce.
And I'd like to thank Public Works. I mean, we've never done this before, and they just did an outstanding job. And Parks and Recreation, these guys were out there, fire department, takes the team to do something like this, and everybody's always does a wonderful job. So thank you, James.
As always, yep. And that I'm always amazed at the city employees working ahead of time, afterwards, so that we can have nice events in the city. And that was certainly a fun event. I was able to be out there and walk around for a couple of hours. And you did great, Mr. Harris. It was awesome. And we're so excited about the great things going on with the airport. In particular, the news as of late about the Dallas flight, or the DFW flight, which is going to start November 1st. Is that correct?
Yes, Mayor. November 1st, tickets go on sale October. We're working on pricing, which is going to be very, very close to what we're paying to go to Denver also. So
wonderful.
Nice cheap flights to Dallas.
That's great. So right out of our backyard here, we're connected to Denver International as well as DFW beginning in November. So that's wonderful. Well, thank you for that, and thanks for sharing with us about the awesome event.
Yeah, and thank you to the commissioners that came out too. I know Commissioner Rowley, you came out with the Clovis Community College and was supporting the event. Mayor Pro Tem Bryant, Commissioner Garza, Mayor, thank you for coming out.
Yeah, you bet. Thank
Mayor,
you.
I have to say it was a great event, and thanks to all that made it happen. But I was thinking that a few days before this event started, there was a lot going on within the city that particular day, and I thought, well, it's got to have some impact on this particular airport. And so when I got out there, I was amazed at how many people were out there. I mean, it was packed. So it was a great event, and definitely appreciate all you did to everybody did to make this happen. It was very worthwhile. Look forward to it next year.
Are you going to be looking for more sponsors for the next one?
Yes, we're going to start the planning early this time. I had an idea, and we said, let's do it. And next year we're going to make it better. We're going to have more variety of food and cars and airplanes. And
I had a couple of guys that are in local bands, and they say they would love to do something like that. And
that's our plan, to get some live bands out there also.
Okay, cool.
It's going to be even cooler next year.
I have no doubt. Thanks again for that. We'll move on and ask for a report regarding Public Works Committee, which met yesterday.
Yes, it did. Thank you, Mayor. Very, very quick meeting. extremely short. We did approve the recommendation on residential street paving, which we approved tonight. The only other thing that we had on the agenda was an update from Mr. Holt on city projects, and he advised that the Ned Hout drainage project was completed by K. Barnett, and he reported on a few more projects, and that was the end of our discussion.
Short and sweet, huh?
Very short.
Oh, well, good deal. Well, thanks for that report. Thanks for serving on that committee, or leading that committee, rather. Next, we have a report on Eastern New Mexico Water Utility Meeting, and I'll take that report, but as always, I would welcome any input from you, Mayor Pro Tem, or you, Commissioner Garza, as you both said on that board as well. But the Water Authority Board met on Tuesday this week. We moved it it was actually scheduled for today, but we moved it to Tuesday, and handled the normal things that we normally do, the monthly financials and so forth. But a big item that we did take care of was a grant agreement between the Eastern New Mexico Water Utility Authority and the United States Bureau of Reclamation. And this grant will be used for Finished Water 1, which for those of you that may not remember, Finished Water 1 is the section of the U pipeline project that is going to extend 15.5 miles north from Cannon Air Force Base. And this grant agreement total is $61 million, a little over $61 million. And so we're just excited about seeing the U pipeline project advancing, and in fact, some of the other things that we took care of are evidence of that. We approved, I think it was 3 different easement agreements with folks who are out there in the Finished Water 1 area. So progressing right along, very excited about the progress as it is. However, if the $1 trillion federal infrastructure bill that's at the House passes, that again, just as a reminder for everyone, that has in it the money that we would need to have the full federal portion of the funding, and would change dramatically the timeline that we could complete the pipeline in. Any questions? Thank you. We will move on then to our monthly investment report. Monthly investment report from our Finance Director, Ms. Leanne Melanson. Ms. Melanson, we'll give you the floor.
Thank you, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and Commissioners. August 31st, 2 months in for the new year. We started our cash at $50.9 million, ended at $51.9 million. Quick overview, General Fund 1, our cash balance ending $5.7 million. Fund 2, Solid Waste, $2.1 million. Environmental Tax, Fund 6, $8.3 million. Our Wastewater Fund 10, $4.6 million. Economic Development, Gross Receipts Fund 64, $3.2 million. Our Water Quarter Percent Gross Receipts Fund 66, $4.5 million. And our Drainage Improvements Fund 88, $1.2 million. Our cash in bank, we have $28.6 million in our local banks and $23.2 million in our state investment pool. We continue to work on our investment policy. The month interest was a little over $4,000. Our 2-month total is $6,900, and our state pool creeped up a little bit to .063. So we're seeing maybe a little bit of increase there. Gross receipts, this was our first month to receive actual gross receipts on all internet sales. Because it's now part of the gross receipts, there's no way to break it out. So we did end up 8.46% above last year. We don't look at 2 years ago, but that was our regional onlys were 41% below, but that was our retailer that paid for many, many years. Our currently, with 2 months in, we are a little over, almost 17% above our budget and 6% of actual last year. I am waiting to, been in training all week, but I'm going to request a report from TRD, from our tax and revenue, to try to get some further information. But in comparing our industry, last year at this time, last month, we had 2,775 businesses report. This month, we had 3,607. So we believe that a good majority of those are internet providers, which would explain part of our increase. So we're going to kind of watch that. There is a report that I can request that we're hoping is going to provide us a little bit more information to try to determine how many internet businesses we are actually receiving revenue on. And for you, Mayor, and for citizens, early voting for your leader question starts October 5th, as well as it's the first day for absentee ballots to be mailed out. And early voting will be at the county clerk's office until October 30th. And at the mall, at North Plains Mall, will start October 16th and go through October 30th. Election day, November 2nd. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Great, thank you for that voter information, but also thank you for the report on the financials, or the investment report. And it will be interesting to see the effect of the internet tax. And let's hope that it's what it looks like, right? Yeah. Any questions for Ms. Melanson? Very good. Thank you for that report. Next is future agenda items. Do we have future agenda items to discuss?
Yes, thank you, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioners. You have a mental health awareness proclamation, the District 1 Commissioner appointment action, the 2021 Homeland Security Grant, an update from the New Mexico Department of Transportation regarding city projects, memorandum of understanding between the 26th Special Tactical Squadron and for another additional drop zone at the airport. That's what I have so far. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Burrows. Appreciate it. Commissioners, do you have any items to bring forward as future agenda items? All right. Let's talk about announcement of date, time, and place of city board and commission meetings. The Parks and Recreation.
The Parks and Recreation one will be changing.
Okay, to 4:30.
Yes, so yeah.
Yeah, Commissioner Madrid told me that it will be at 4:30, if I'm right, on Monday, September 27th, and instead of taking place here, it's going to take place out at the new shooting range at 4:30.
Yes, thank
Okay,
you. Sorry, I didn't know you'd
all right,
changed it.
all right, great. And then the next city commission meeting is at 5:15 on Thursday, October 7th, and keep in mind, that is when we're going to be appointing to fill the vacancy in District 1. So with that, Commissioners, we are adjourned.